There we are. And I'll spotlight me so you can see my tiny face in here. There. Good evening, everyone. My name is Janet Forrest. I'm one of the adult program coordinators at the Nantucket Athenaeum, and welcome to Yummy Monday. My colleague Daniel Griffin is also on the line helping with the technology behind the scenes. I'm very excited for tonight. We have Caval Mattison, who's going to be cooking for us and presenting. And I was thinking about her today because almost exactly a year ago, we had coffee together at Corner Table, and she's probably one of the last people I had coffee with before we went to the stay-at-home order. And I reached out to her because I noticed at the library, we see the same people come a lot, and we love you all and keep coming. But I was like, how can we get more people coming in? And I was kind of picking her brain, and she said food. People gather around food. It's what we all can relate to. And so I'm very excited that a year later, we have Cavel here talking about food. So I'm going to let her talk about it. She's going to tell you her story and everything. So I'm going to pass it right over to her. Thank you, Cavel. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. And how are you doing? Let's see, who do we have here? I'm just going to do a gallery view so I can see who I see. Some familiar faces. Sean, there's Maria, there's Shimona, there's Gina, Alyssa, Cover. Welcome. There's Paula. I am just so delighted that my friends and all the community members are here. Thank you so much for joining me. So, today was an interesting day, Jenna can tell you. To make this happen, it took a lot of effort, but here we are. So I could tell you a lot about myself, but I think, as you know, my friend Dorothy and Shimona, they always say there's always a story with me. I'm going to introduce myself as how I became so into food. It started off with my grandmother. My grandmother loves cooking. My aunts, they're perfectionists, so they love to cook. I am also, let's see, someone who cooked for the church. So if you prepared for the pastor, that was huge. So every Sabbath, I would get that coveted spot to prepare food. I'm also a food and nutrition student. I did very well in practical and theory, one of the top students. And I hope to pursue that.
Cavel, we lost your audio for a moment. Let's see. Try to say something again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Can you hear me prior to that?
We missed like one sentence.
Okay. Now I was saying I was at Johnson and Wales. I applied to Johnson and Wales to do their online course. That fell through. So what I decided to do was take that passion and everything that I learned and just use it as therapy. I enjoy cooking. My daughter is very particular. She is the person's like, Mom, I'm in the mood for this or that. I also like to cook for my friends. So this evening, I will be sharing a few things that my grandmother loves. I'll be doing a breakfast dish. I'll be doing something for Meatless Mondays. And also it's Women's History Month. So we want to celebrate how powerful women are. If we think about it, women are some of the caregivers. They nurture the family. They teach them so much. So let's celebrate and empower each one. And thanks to the Nantucket Athenaeum for hosting this program. Please remember that there are more than books, and whatever we can do to donate to help that program grow and to make it continue, let's do so as a community. First off, I want to share with you something which is our Jamaican produce. So I do get this question a lot when I'm in the Stop and Shop aisle. And people say, okay, what is this? What is that? And for me, I want to take the time out today and to introduce you to some of the produce that we have. I have a beautiful basket here. And the basket contains, I'll get my assistant to help me. She'll just hold the basket for me. So, oh, sorry. This is plantain. We'll be working with this. So it's a cousin to green banana. So I'll be making something tonight, which is one of my grandmother's favorite, plantain porridge. We have chayote. Chayote is used in soups and stews. It's actually very flavorless. So one of my favorite fruits is papaya. Growing up, we had about several different types of papaya. I grew up on a farm. We had 6¼ acres of land. So lots of potatoes, papayas, bananas, plantains, yams, which I'll show you in the next clip. Here you go. So this is what you call Jamaican yam. So it's yellow. That's what I call yam. So I do get into a little squabble with my landlord, who's American, because he calls sweet potato yams. This is sweet potato for us, otherwise seen in Stop and Shop called batata. If you notice, it does not have an orange color. So this can be used to make pudding. Now, if you've been watching the Great British Baking Show, you'll know what pudding is. So pudding is more dense than cake. So this is used to make sweet potato pudding. You can Google it. All right, let's see what we have next. Here is another type of yam. This one is called St. Vincent. So this one has a softer texture when you boil it. Again, these can be all boiled like potatoes. And this one is very powdery when it's cooked. So you can use it for puree or for baby food. Another tuber is Edo. This is perfect for soups because it can act as a thickener. Comes in different sizes. And it has the plant has like a beautiful heart-shaped leaf. So hopefully this summer I'll be growing some in my backyard garden and I can go in depth about it. Okay, and last but not least, my favorite, coconut. Coconut is very versatile. I prefer to use this dried coconut for rice and beans, for making coconut milk. You can use it to make coconut oil. So coconut is very versatile, and the coconut water is so refreshing. You can add a spritz of lime to it. So there you go. Now you have an idea more about what Jamaican produce is used for when you go to Stop and Shop next time. You can also reach out to me. You can go on my Instagram page, which is Caviar and High Heels. Thank you. All right, next section. Okay, so we are going to be making my grandmother's favorite, which is plantain porridge. So plantain porridge, if you're familiar, most British people are more familiar with plantain porridge or any sort of porridge. It is a breakfast staple. So we're gonna get started. Just give me a few minutes. And I am going to show you what we're going to use today. Okay, so I'll be doing a bit of blending. So do pardon that. So we have some plantain. It's sliced plantain with some water. I'm just going to add about a cup of coconut milk. All right, I'm going to do a little blending here. So I'm going to shift the computer so everyone will have a better view of what I'm doing. And forgive me, I'm not a professional, so excuse any mishaps. All right.
Cavel, I'm gonna mute you while you blend because it'll be loud.
Okay.
Just remember to unmute yourself when you're done. There you go, perfect.
Okay, so we are gonna get this started. Just gonna make sure that can everyone see?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, Janet, you'll be my voice for the next few minutes. So I am going to pour this. I'm just gonna lower the heat a bit. So this is a very nutritious meal for breakfast. It's cheap. One plantain costs about 50 cents. It's very cheap. You just slice the green plantain, about a cup of water, a cup of your favorite milk. It doesn't have to be almond milk. It doesn't have to be cow's milk, whatever you desire. I prefer coconut milk. My grandmother made it with condensed milk and sugar. This can be done, served savory or sweet. So I'm just gonna add that in. Just gonna add a bit of water. It does thicken a bit. So just to show you, see if I can be ambidextrous. It does thicken a bit. Can you see, Janet?
Yes, we can see.
Okay.
Oh, actually tilt it down a little bit.
Okay,
There you go. Now we can see.
All right, so you have to whisk it and whisk it briskly so that way it doesn't form lumps. No one likes lumpy porridge. And this takes about a good 10 minutes the most to cook, because you just want to cook it until it's tender. And sometimes you have to gradually add water to it. I'm going to add a pinch of salt, a little honey, or you can use sugar. So bear with me while I add these in. You can even use, a bit of maple syrup to sweeten it. So one plantain can yield up to about 2 cups of porridge. It just depends on the size of the plantain. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. If you're from the Caribbean or another country outside of the US, most times we don't measure anything. It's ingrained in you since you're a kid, so you just know how to put in the right amount. So if you can see, that has a beautiful consistency. All right, we're just gonna let that sit. All right, and then while we're waiting on that, I'm going to take you over to this section where we have oxtail. So let me see if I can we all see? Janet, you gotta be my
Yes.
voice.
Yep, we can see.
Okay. Let me see if I can get a little height with this. And you want to lower the heat on the porridge. All right, so here is my missing place. So oxtail. When you get oxtail, you want to make sure your oxtail is nice. Some people like the bigger pieces. I don't. I like the little pieces because it's more fun to enjoy. The oxtail was once an underappreciated part of the meat. Now, if you go to restaurants, an oxtail meal can cost anywhere between $25 to $40, which I'm not going to pay for it because I grew up eating this for 25 cents a pound. All right, so for your oxtail, I do wash my oxtail in a little lime and vinegar. Caribbean people, we love to wash our meat. Just saying. And then I have a mixture here of allspice. I do have Old Bay. I love Old Bay. Some salt, some pepper, and other secret spices. So I have a medley here. I'm just going to add it to the oxtail. And then we'll just stir that. Nice little stir.
Cavel, where do you get your oxtail on the island? Do you get it at Stop and Shop?
So the oxtail I do get at Stop and Shop. You can get, I buy most of my meat through 100 Mile Makers, and because I prefer to get organic, I love a lot of organic, and I like to support local farmers. So you can get oxtail from Stop and Shop, you can get it through 100 Mile Makers. If you go to farmers market, one of my favorite is the Rhode Island market in the Pawtucket market, Rhode Farm Fresh Riri. I love that market. So most Saturdays pre-COVID, my Frenchman and I would go to the farmers market, and that's where I'd gather most of my meats and veggies. So with the oxtail, you can use wine, you can use beer, just any sort of alcohol to let it sit in there. So I'm using some red wine. I don't really drink that much, so this, and then a little secret for your oxtail is some sugar. You want a little bit of sweetness, so that little brown sugar. Again, if you love to play around, I'm sure people like Sean Reed or Maria will play around and come up with something even more fabulous. Everyone has their secrets when it comes to oxtail, but this is the basis here. And then here, so I have it all, nice with my spices, and I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. And then these little bad boys, a little chili pepper. This is from Morzen that I got this summer. It's really spicy. So if you don't like spice, you don't want to mess around with it. Just gonna all right, looking at my porridge. Just giving it a quick stir. Just gonna add a dash of coconut milk because it got a little thicker. All right, and while I'm doing that, if someone has any questions, you can just shoot. Janet, does anyone have any questions so far about the oxtail?
No, they're riveted. Oh, wait, here's one. Let's see, Larry and Peggy want to know, what's the difference between soup and porridge?
The soup is made from pretty much any sort of vegetables and meat, and there's always the base is always a stock, which could be a veggie stock, a meat stock, and then with porridge porridge is a cereal. So you could do oatmeal porridge, you could do cornmeal porridge, you can do green banana porridge, you can do plantain porridge. So there's corn porridge as well. There's arrowroot porridge, there's hominy porridge. There's about 10 different porridges that you can make. And I would definitely suggest, looking up in any British cooking book or British cookbook or any Caribbean cookbook, and you can learn more about porridge. And it's so cheap and simple. I ate a lot growing up. I'm surprised I'm making porridge now because I hated it, because we got a spanking to eat porridge. It was just like nonstop. I think the worst combination I've ever had was banana porridge, banana fritters, and banana smoothie. It was a lot of bananas. Yeah, that was like one of my worst memories. And I know sometimes people might be sending me something with chat, so I'll definitely answer them in a little bit.
Mhm.
I'm going to answer all your questions a little closer to the end, so thank you so much for your patience. All right, let's pop over to the porridge, because when you're cooking, you're gonna multitask. So the porridge is almost done. Just get a bit of water here. And I saw a question, I think briefly, Elisa was asking if it can be served as a dessert. I think one of the porridges that you could serve as a dessert, it's like rice porridge, because we had that growing up. Not my favorite porridge, but yes. I do see where I've been to a few Norwegian households, and they do serve some sort of cold rice meal, rice porridge or rice dessert. Never really paid attention, because if I don't like it, then I won't eat it or give it any attention to it. All right, so let's see how the porridge is. So I just want to show you the consistency. I just move it over. It's thick. So that's all done. And I wish my, sorry, just remove this. I wish my lighting was much better. I apologize.
No, we can see it great.
Lighting is so important when it comes to food. Can you see?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, all right. So that's ready. So you can add some honey. You can add some maple syrup for me. I'm gonna add what I love is the maple syrup. Let me give that a quick whisk.
And do you, when you make it, Cavel, do you make just what you're gonna eat, or do you make it and then you can store it and have it like heated up the next day?
You can freeze it. That's a great question. Absolutely, you can freeze it. You just need to add a little water to it. So with like banana porridge, it does get thicker when it sits, so you can reheat it. I've made this and I've given it to friends. I've either created the mix or created the porridge, and they can just reheat it and eat it whenever they want.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm gonna plate this beautiful porridge.
Ooh, it's so silky.
It is. And see if I can get a little height up here. And Karen Sweeney, if you guys see her on the screen, is currently salivating over this. One of her favorites, and she loves to cook. So I do have some things that I like to add. I do have some bee pollen here from Gray Lady Apiary. And so you just sprinkle a little along here. I like when my food is pretty. All my friends know that. Sprinkle, oops, sorry. Right, of chia seeds. Let's see. There we go, that's better. And then I do have some dried pumpkin seeds, a little pumpkin seed here. I like when my food is pretty. I don't like when food is unappealing or not attractive. So some strawberries here. It's not cooperating. Normally if it's summer, I use beautiful rose petals or any little flower in my garden. Right. And then you could just add a drizzle. All right, so here we go. Let's see if we can do this right. So this is your banana porridge. Sorry, plantain porridge. Can everyone see it?
You froze for a moment, but we saw it earlier.
Okay.
So you're
Here
good.
we go.
There it is. We can see it.
Okay. And I'll have my daughter take pictures of it so you can see it. Instagram.
And I put Cavel's Instagram in the chat. It's really worth following. You'll enjoy it.
Okay. All right, so long for porridge. If you have any questions, I can go into detail. We only have an hour. So let's move on to the next. I'm going to make something which is one of my favorite. And everyone, I just want to say a big shout out to my daughter Jadine for helping me. I won't put her on camera because she hates it. She's not about spotlight, but she did help me today in getting this all ready. Okay, so let's just go to, I think I found the perfect angle. So we are going to do the pumpkin stew. All right, let's see. And one of these burners doesn't work, so. Okay. So we are going to do pumpkin stew, meatless Monday. I don't know, do we have any vegetarians here or vegans? This is for you. Okay. So here we have some roasted pumpkin, or you can use butternut squash. I always get into an argument with someone, which one is pumpkin, which one is squash. And then I have some broad beans, otherwise known as lima beans or butter beans, some green peas. I have some sliced red pepper, some shallots, and some green onions, or otherwise known as scallion. And I have some garlic, some roasted garlic. I have some garlic salt, some herbs, suja, and some coriander because I love that. I do have some chopped kale. So let's get this beautiful dish started. Okay, sorry, that lady was in the way. All right, so here we are with, I like to cook with olive oil. I don't use butter just because of my dietary restriction. I suffer from migraine, so butter, any sort of dairy does give me migraine. I don't really do a lot of gluten either. I'm not supposed to. It makes my fingers swollen. So I'm very mindful about what I eat. I also grew up in a Seventh-day Adventist home. So everything that we eat was closely monitored, and we weren't allowed to eat any junk food or anything that would potentially cause harm to our body, like caffeine or any of that stuff. So strictly 80% vegetables and mainly organic. On a quick note, I hope people understand when you go to the supermarket. So the code for organic starts with 4, I believe. I gotta look. Let me see. So if you're buying organic vegetables, it starts with 9. Non-organic starts with 4. Just a little something. All right, so we are going to add for seasoning. I love doing this. It's therapeutic. I could chop it, but I'm gonna rip some kale. I don't need the rib. This is already washed. Some beautiful chopped kale, or you can do ripped kale. It's nice, you know, like today was a long day and you think about those 20 emails. Yeah, just rip some kale, something healthy.
I feel relaxed just watching you.
Anything. What did you say, Janet?
I said I feel relaxed just watching you.
All right, we're gonna add some peas. I'm gonna add half of the peas now. All right, and then I'm going to add my seasoning. All right, so let that saute for a bit. So this has just some herbs, some garlic salt. I'm gonna add a little Himalayan pink salt, which is one of my favorite salts to use. Some fresh pepper. And then I'm going to add some coconut milk here and just a bit of water. So most times people ask me about my recipes. Oh, can you tell me about this? Can you give me the recipe? I come home and this is what I do. Oh, disclaimer. This is my landlord's kitchen upstairs because I live downstairs and there's not much light, but I'm up here too. But this is me. I go in my cupboard and I just look and I'm like, okay, I think I'm in the mood for something yummy, or I had a bad day, so I need something to brighten my mood, and that's how I cook. That's how I arrive at what I want to cook. Now the pumpkins, I did roast it so it's nice and caramelized. It gives it a beautiful flavor. I added some trumpet mushrooms, so just for some texture, because I like textures. I'm big on textures. All right, so let's give this a little stir. And you can add whatever veggies you want. Again, with cooking, you just have to have fun with it. I'm just gonna turn up the heat a bit. And that garlic, so I added some roasted garlic that I made. You know, you just squeeze a little bit out. And so now it's cooking out in that nice coconut sauce. It's going to improve the flavor. So as you can see, it's such a pretty color with the shallots. It just adds beauty. And when you look at this, you're like, I don't need any meat, do I? It's so pretty. And I promise I'm going to work on getting a camera and doing a little better when it comes to cooking, because you could cook the best meal, but if you don't have proper lighting to show it virtually, then it's not worth the effort. Okay, so that is sauteing a bit. Now I'm going to add some butter beans, and I'm just going to use half of this. I don't want too much in there because it will overpower it. So just to review what we've put in there so far. So we started off with some green onions, some peppers, some torn kale, and then we also added some seasoning to it. Then you could also add a bit of turmeric to this to brighten the flavor if you want. I'm going to just turn the heat down on this. So now we are going to slowly add that beautiful pumpkin in. And these bowls are made by my friend Taylor Cullen. So she has all sorts of fun little bowls. If you see, I have like tons of them. I like to play with them. All right, so just give this a nice stir and be gentle with the pumpkin because you don't want it get squashed. You still want it intact when you serve it.
Well, what temperature and how long did you roast the pumpkin?
Thank you. I roasted it. Let's see if I can remember. I roasted it until tender, but I'm gonna say it takes about like 45 minutes at 350. I did it in the air fryer. The air fryer is bomb. That thing is fast. It's savior, and I'm so glad I discovered it because whoa, it makes my life a breeze.
Yeah. And do you peel the pumpkin or do you just cook it in the skin and peel it later?
I love the pumpkin skin.
Oh, okay.
There's so much vitamin right under the skin, and it also keeps it intact.
Mm-hmm.
But if you roast it and you get the right pumpkin, it's so beautiful. Again, for me, I believe in like sustainable cooking, so not wasting any part of the meal. All right. Oops, we had a little spill. My mushroom went there. Ow. I'm one of those people when I'm cooking, I'm always like wiping up and cleaning because I hate mess. I'm just gonna add a bit of water, turn the heat up on this.
That coconut milk you're using, did that come from a fresh coconut?
No, not today. So I am using, let me see. I'm using this one. Sorry, I opened the coconut milk upside down. So let me get you, show you one.
Because I love coconut milk and I put it in my smoothies and I've been trying different brands. So I'm shopping around.
I think pretty much any one. You're gonna try and get one that doesn't have like, you know, all the preservatives in there.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is called Cocoa Goods.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
And I like it because I mean it does have some thickener in there, but I make my own coconut milk, which is easy. And the secret to making a good coconut milk, it's not like when you make other nut milk. You want to blend it with hot water.
Mm.
That's how you extract the milk from it. All right, I do not cook anything except for fresh fish without my Old Bay. So add a bit more Old Bay. And then I'm going to add a bit of butter. I can't believe it's not butter. It's non-dairy. So add just like a teaspoon. And it just brightens that flavor just because it's a vegan dish and you just want to add a bit of flavor to it. All right. All right, there we go. It's nice and pretty. I'm sorry, I keep losing my mushrooms. Okay, so that is all done. Good to go. Okay, so here we go.
Ooh. That looks great.
So it has those beautiful colors, and I will plate it so you folks can see. Now you can eat this alone. You can eat it by itself. My secret ingredient this though is turmeric, which I did not bring with me. It's downstairs, so forgive me, because it will give it a richer color. But there are your nice little trumpet mushrooms. So it's nice and meaty and beautiful. Mm. And then the little peas. And then I saved some of my cooked peas just to add to the top. So let's see. Yeah, so just some more peas. And then some green onions, make your plate pretty. How are we doing on time? What time is it?
You have 10 minutes, but you can also,
Okay, perfect.
there's no hard stop. So if you need to run over a little bit, you're welcome to.
No, that's fine. All right, so here we go. We have this beautiful plate of pumpkin stew. You just dig in. Yummy. All right. Let's head over to this section. Let's get away from all the aluminum. All right, so let's go back to oxtail. Can we see? Can everyone see?
You can see the cutting, I can't quite see the cutting board if you need that. So
I don't need the cutting board.
Okay, yep, we can see.
Okay, so with the oxtail, you're just going to add, I chopped some onions, some green pepper or bell pepper, some carrots, some scallions. I have some fresh ginger. There it cracks. So you just put it all in here. Kind of like shake that up. I'm gonna do this over the sink. Throw in some tomatoes.
Could you let the oxtail rest overnight if you
Well,
wanted?
I was just gonna say that. So for me, I let it sit for at least up to 8 hours. So there you go. So this is all gonna sit there and it smells so good, so good. I add a little, my little secret, a little truffle hot sauce. One of my favorite things here is the coffee rub from Trader Joe's. Yes, so with the oxtail now, you'd saute that, and after you saute it, and you don't saute it with the vegetables. You try to pick them apart. Just saute it until it gets a nice color, and then you're gonna take the marinade, put it in a pot. You can braise it in the oven for a good 4 or 5 hours, because on low heat, because oxtail is very tough. It's a tough piece of meat, but it's worth the time. You could use a pressure cooker if you're skilled with pressure cooker. You could use an Instapot. I use the old time pressure cooker because that's what I grew up with. I didn't grow up with technology or electricity or running water, so we make use of what we have. If you do the pressure cooker, you gotta be very skilled with it, because I've seen some pressure cooker accidents and they're not pretty. So you cook this until it gets tender. And then what you could do, if you don't braise it, you can finish it on the stovetop.
Could you do it in a slow cooker, like a crock pot?
Yes, you could. I'm gonna be honest, I've never used a crock pot in my life. I have a thing against crock pot. I'm just biased. All right, so here we have some finished oxtail. So the finished oxtail is right here. This one was braised. This one was cooked for a good 6 or 7 hours. And I used some beer, some Cisco beer. I used the light one, something more fruity, like the Grippa, because I've used a dark beer, and boy, was that horrible. So I'm gonna add a little scallion, add some broad beans to this. Pour some wine. And then I'm gonna cook that down for another half an hour, and then it's good to go. And I think that's what we are. That's enough time that we have for cooking. So let's take some Q&A.
Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask, or if you're feeling a little shy, you can put it in the chat. Deb, I saw you unmute yourself. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, do you put it on a 300-degree oven and braise it that way for 7 hours?
No, if you're braising it, I would go with a low heat. I suck pretty much at heats, but let me see. I think I would say 250, right, Sean? Sean is a chef.
Oh,
So
okay. You're
Sean
doing,
here, Sean.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, 250 to 300, I think. Definitely.
Yeah.
for 6 hours or 7 hours?
I think it'll definitely
No.
take that long.
No, it doesn't take that long. Depends on the amount that you're cooking. I mean, the most I braise, and if I'm cooking probably 2 or 3 pounds of oxtail, that would be about 4 hours the most.
Okay. And you never can do it on top of the stove, right?
Oh, you can do both. So I will send you more in-depth information in regards to that. But yes, you can definitely do it on the stove top. It's just more time consuming. You can do it on the stove top. You can do it in a crock pot. You can do it in the Instapot, or you can do a pressure cooker.
Yeah, okay. Because I make, when I'm on island, I make goat and I do it on top of the stove.
Ooh, I love goat.
I love curried goat. So the only time I can make it is when I'm on island, because that's the only place I can get the goat meat.
Yes.
But let me ask you a question about that. Somebody said that the male is more tender than the female. Is that right?
I'm gonna
And a
tell
goat?
an honest Truth, like a Caribbean person, I'm not partial to either. Once
Oh,
it goes
okay.
make or makes that sound, yeah. Yeah, you should really go meet. Goat's not something we keep as pets in Jamaica. I hope I don't sound mean, but
Mhm.
I love it. It's a flavorful meat. I know it's pretty gamey.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've done that
thank you.
crock pot before. I've done a goat stew in the crock pot.
Yes, I mean, there's so many different things that you can do with it. And that's the thing with food. See, there's something, and I've always said that to people there's food. So three things that are universal that we can all come together and understand. It's food, music, and sex. You don't need to speak any language to come together. They're like the three universal languages. And you think about food, one of the cultures that I admire the most is the Middle Eastern culture, just the way, the passion of the way they celebrate food. It's just beautiful. And that's one of the things. I know with us growing up, food is something that is celebrated as something to nourish your body, something to grow. And I think the most beautiful thing that we all got to do for most people with COVID is planting our own food. Like we cooked a lot. I know Sean Reed and we were cooking endlessly every day. It's like, what do I make? The creativity, it's there. So that's something I definitely want to share. I want to learn more. I go into the El Salvadorian market now, and I want to learn more because I think the food is so good. Maria got to teach me some of the Spanish words because I don't eat pork. So most of like no pork. And so I want you guys to like go into those little markets, Carolinas, just go in and you'll actually find most of your seasonings there much cheaper than Stop and Shop. And it's fresh.
Yeah, for those who don't know, the El Salvadorian market moved. It was by the Old South Diner and it moved over to where the UPS store is, and it's beautiful. I was in there maybe last week. It's really cool. And they have some prepared meals. So if you're not so into cooking as much as everyone else is, you can get great prepared meals. And is it Caroline's or Carolinas?
I think it's Carolinas.
It's that's over by Thai House.
Yes.
In parking lot.
Carolina doesn't cook. Mini markets at Salvadorian cook, and Trading Post.
Yes, Trading Post, of course. Yeah. I've heard Trading Post, you have to get there early if you want. They run out.
Yep.
Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions, everyone? I think everyone is just so riveted.
Well, I hope it was engaging. It's my first time, so forgive me. I had my daughter who was like my technical director. She was like, don't say, breathe. She was giving me all the cues. She was a great help. Thank you everyone for coming out. This was great. It's the start of something new. Thanks to Janet for always pushing me. 2 years ago around this time, I was doing public speaking with her, and that was just so hard because I had to do a lot of give a lot of speeches at the Chamber of Commerce after party. So I was so glad that I took that class. And the Athenaeum again has so many great programs. The community itself has a lot of programs, and so let us all get involved, because just living here since around 2008, but been here since 2000. There's so much that Nantucket has to offer, and our community is great. So we can strengthen that by coming together and supporting each other and learning about cultures. If you see me on the street, ask me about my culture. Ask me about what life is like here. And I'll try to enunciate my words so you can understand me, because I know my my accent is pretty deep.
We understood you very well.
I'm from the country area, so it's deep. Karen, who is on screen, hers is different because she's from the city.
Can you put me on speaker?
You're fine.
Oh, I want to thank you.
Thank you.
It was very enjoyable, and I learned some tips.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed
Thank you.
it.
Great.
Thank you.
everyone can keep an eye out for on the Athenaeum YouTube page. We'll post this, and I have everyone's email so I can send out a link so you can watch it again.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Cavel. This is fabulous. I loved it. We'll have you back again. And if
Bye.
you have ideas, if there's someone you think would be great, let us know. We're always looking for new people to present. So, all right. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you. Woohoo.
Yay, great job, Cavel.
Thank you.